Pharmacist Ben?
That's me. Can you see me?
Oh, yeah, I do see you, and I
Am I
hear
in the
you.
dark?
How are you tonight?
I'm good. Good
No,
to
no,
see
you look
you.
great.
Do I? Thank you.
Speaking
You
of
like my
speaking of,
hair?
you look great. You
Yeah.
got coiffed.
I know. I got
You
scalped.
got a cut there, man.
This would have
And
bothered
it's
me
it's a little different than I'm
when
accustomed
I
to
was a
seeing.
kid. When I was not even a kid, when I was a little younger, that would have bothered me. But now it grows back so fast. It's like 2 months later.
Okay, hang
Forget about it. You having a moment?
on.
You're like, is that me or is that you? You're going in and out, buddy. AJ, is that you?
Well, what can you tell? That's me. Can you tell us about metabolic syndrome before I?
Can can I tell you about metabolic syndrome?
Please tell us about
Oh,
metabolic syndrome,
you wrote
Pharmacist
the book.
Ben.
Are you taking over here? You wrote the book on metabolic syndrome, literally,
Well,
not
I
figuratively.
helped Doc. I
Oh, I
helped.
see. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so most of the things that happen in the body are metabolic. Metabolic just means it's about energy, and most of the chemistry in the body is around metabolism, the ability to process energy, right? So
Mhm.
where does energy come from? Two main sources. Well, not two main sources, but there's macro and there's micro or quantum, nano, really, quantum particles. You have food and then you got it broken down. Do you know food is broken down to quantum particles? That's what food happens. When you eat a food, most of it is ejected. And this tiny portion goes into your blood and it becomes quantum particles. And it becomes quantum particles in the most amazing chemistry that I can't even tell you as a chemist. It wouldn't land because if you understand chemistry, it's just and why does that logo right over my head there? That's pretty funny. It's like I was canceled. Then
I didn't notice. I didn't notice.
no, I'm teasing. So anyway, the food is turned into quantum particles in what's called in the outside part of the cell. They call it the Krebs cycle. You may have heard the Krebs cycle. It's actually the outside part of a mitochondria, and then the inside part of a mitochondria, it goes to town in what's called electron transport. Okay?
Okay.
Electron transport, and I'm not going to get into it because it is the most, in all of biochemistry, by far, it is the most incredibly elaborate Rube Goldberg machine. You know what a Rube Goldberg machine is?
I do know what the Rube Goldberg machine is.
Yes, a Rube Goldberg machine for the listeners or the viewers is it's an old cartoon. There was a cartoonist named Rube Goldberg in the 1930s, I believe, and he used to make these cartoons of like a ball dropping in a cup, and then the cup turning on a screw, and then the screw leading to a hole, and then the ball drops down the hole, and knocks down 4 dominoes, and it kicks over some switch, and boom,
Famously,
mousetrap.
Tom and Jerry
Oh yeah,
used to use Rube Goldberg machines on the show. I don't know if you
is
remember
that
Tom.
true?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember that. I wasn't ever a big Tom and Jerry guy, but that vaguely does sound familiar now that you're bringing it up. Yeah. So Rube Goldberg. Except the body does it at the quantum scale, where this turns to that, and that turns to this, and this switches on that, and it opens up a gate here, and this electron moves over this way, and that turns on this enzyme, and then that enzyme activates this switch, and that's the body. But it's happening at the tiniest of scales. Can you imagine this? With an intelligence that allows it to go left and right and safety valves and bypass, and that's the body. That's the way the body works. And the most important aspect of all of this all these nano quantum Rube Goldberg machines is how the body produces energy. That's the crux of the body. It's energy. Energy, energy, energy. The body is purely about energy. Getting it, using it, dispersing it, all energy. That's it, all anything is. And so the energy processes, the energy in general, the collective energy processes are called metabolism. That's the term. That's what metabolism means. Now, metabolism is broken down into two aspects. There's two types of metabolism. There's the kind of metabolism that builds, and there's the kind of metabolism that breaks down. Right? There's two nature's forces, primal forces: build up, break down. Anabolism, catabolism. Right? Have you heard anabolism? Most people have heard anabolic steroids, so you can relate because it's anabolism. It makes you build muscle. Catabolism is breakdown. They're both important. Out with the old, in with the new. You always want new tissue. You always want new stuff. The body's constantly doing something called remodeling. We're out with the old, in with the new. Out with the old, in with the new. Out with the old, in with the new. That's a fundamental process. And so metabolism is a balance of in with the new, out with the old, in with the new. It's the energy behind all of it. Both of it takes energy, but some energy causes buildup, some energy causes breakdown. It's all energy. Catabolism releases energy. Anabolism stores energy. With me? Catabolism, catabolic. Catabolism has to be tightly controlled, tightly regulated because of this. Anabolism only happens when everything's right, when all the systems are geared to go. We have tricked the body. I don't know if we did intentionally. We might as well have done it intentionally because it was so so directed, so coherent, into thinking it's supposed to be building. It's supposed to be anabolic. We are hyper anabolic not in a correct way. Anabolism has to be done carefully with just the right amount of resources and raw materials. And you don't want anabolism just building. We have tricked the body into thinking it's supposed to be building, but it's not building. And metabolic disease is an energy disease. It's a disease of too much energy. The body is being, and specifically cells, are being bombarded, flooded with energy. They're frying out. They can't handle the energy. This is what mitochondrial disease is. This is what aging is. This is what metabolic issues are. We have too much energy. That's why fasting is so powerful. Fasting stops the energy. It gives the body a chance to catch up. We have created a food supply that has, over the last 100 years, 120 years or so, it's probably the late 1800s, has been specifically, scientifically, targeted on creating molecules that will keep you eating energy. They call them hyperpalatable. The body loves energy-containing foods, but usually energy-containing foods in nature, they're not everywhere, and when they are, they have vitamins and chromium and vanadium, magnesium and fiber, and it's a complete package. We've isolated all that hyperpalatable goodness and stuck it into foods. And then on top of that, we've created synthetically, we've gotten even more fine-tuned with little molecules. Bottom line is we're flooding our body with energy. Think of what most people eat, and including me in this. I'm not judging anybody because I'm including me in this. You need 1,000 calories a day. You need, 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day if you're an average person. Some people even less. We eat 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. Sometimes more, sometimes 4,000 calories. We're getting a calorie is a unit of heat. It's a unit of its energy. If you want, what happens to do you ever leave your iPhone on your car seat, in the summertime? What happens to it?
It gets hot.
After that,
shuts down.
That's exactly right. No machine, no high-performing machine. Of course, the body's the highest performing machine there is, right? No high-performing machine wants to run hot, right? That's why you have That's why you have fans. Your computer, your Ferrari, wherever you're running hot, you're going to have a fan because no high-tech machine wants to be hot. It burns it out. You have to be very careful. And the body is the finest tuned machine of all. So the less heat you put in the body in the form of energy and calories, the longer you live. Conversely, the shorter you'll live and the sicker you'll be. And that's metabolic disease. And every single one, it's a triangle of disease. Except what they're missing is it starts off with digestion and the digestive system. And there's a link between the intestine and bile and the liver and the blood sugar system. So all of that, I call it 2 points. It's really 1 point. It's really one thing. Except the food is the macro and the quantum is the micro, or smaller than micro, nano or femto or whatever, pico.
Okay, Pharmacist Ben,
Did I explain metabolic disease?
You explained part 1.
Okay, what's part 2?
Part 2 is syndrome aspect.
Oh, what does that mean? Oh, AJ, I love that. You are one smart cookie. It's a syndrome, yes.
So
you know what I call the syndrome? I know you know, but I call the syndrome MBFA.
That's right.
That's what I call the syndrome.
Mercedes,
it's a syndrome.
Benz, Ferrari, and Audi.
What? No.
Mercedes, Benz, Ferrari, and Audi.
No. My body is falling apart disease.
Is that what you call it?
That's what I call the syndrome. A syndrome
I'm messing with you, right?
Okay, I didn't know, but now I know.
You didn't know? Come on, man.
I didn't know. I should have known.
Okay. Pharmacist Ben, okay.
Yes.
I just want to talk to you about the commonly accepted view of metabolic syndrome as per the Mayo Clinic. And they're talking about identifying you as having an apple or pear shape. And they mention risk factors being precursors to having metabolic syndrome as opposed to the other way around. So they're talking about
precursors. Say that again. I want to understand this. Precursors being what?
The Mayo Clinic is saying that if you are obese or have diabetes or certain other diseases like liver disease, polycystic ovary syndrome, and sleep apnea, if you have these things, it increases the risk of you having metabolic syndrome, as opposed to
Okay, I got it. It's a chicken and egg thing. Who knows? Okay. Maybe the metabolic syndrome started before. Well,
you can't have obesity.
This is what they're saying. Hang on. They're saying the structure is something that's observed before the chemistry.
No,
is what they're saying.
They're saying that being obese, having diabetes, and these other diseases increase
metabolic syndrome.
Increase the risk of chance of having metabolic syndrome.
Yes. Because metabolic syndrome is diabetes, essentially. It starts off as diabetes, but it's a syndrome. Well, diabetes is just a brand name for messed up blood sugar.
Right.
We got to start thinking about diabetes from what it really is, not the word. It's messed up chemistry, messed up energy chemistry. Diabetes is messed up energy chemistry, period. Okay? Sit with that? Mm-hmm. Diabetes is a metabolic disturbance. The syndrome is all the stuff that happens from the metabolic disturbance. The syndrome is the high blood pressure, it's the fatty liver, it's the dementia, it's the cardiovascular disease. That's the syndrome part. The dysglycemia is the metabolic part, metabolic syndrome. Are you with me? And it's also insulin resistance. It's not just, it's insulin resistance. It's really the insulin resistance that's the problem, because that's the jumping off point. But the dysglycemia, the messed up blood sugar, comes from your blood sugar going up and down and up and down and up and down, or staying up, chronically staying up. Do you understand insulin resistance, how that whole thing happens?
Yes.
Okay, so eventually insulin resistance will be the, and this is really important for everybody listening who wants to really understand this. Insulin resistance is the result of chronically high blood sugar, right? The chronically high blood sugar is very damaging. Sugar is caustic. It's hot from a chemistry standpoint. It's hot. We talk about heat. This is super hot. Very, very. So it burns things. It burns collagen, especially connective tissue. So it's very damaging to heart, to skin, to bone. It's just damaging stuff. But even worse than that, that's bad. Even worse than that is the insulin. That's the worst. I'll tell you why in a second. But understand that the insulin, the high insulin, is the result of the high blood sugar, the sugar. So sugar, problem. Leads to insulin, high insulin, chronically high insulin. Bigger problem. You got problem plus bigger problem. You got both. Follow me?
I do follow you.
Okay. So you got an insulin problem and you got you got a sugar problem, you got an insulin problem. So why is insulin worse? Oh, sugar, that's just a little molecule that burns things. Okay. Insulin throws the entire system off. Entire head to toe, every freaking nanometer of circulatory system, everything is thrown off by insulin. Everything. Insulin is a prime driver of chemistry. Prime. Maybe the most purely growth-inducing substance in the body is insulin. It feeds cell. It tells the body, it signals to the body, life is good. There's lots of energy. We got lots to do, lots going on. So it drives the growth process. But the problem is we're not growing. We're not foraging. We're not hunting. We're not, getting well-rounded nutrition. We're not going keto by starving a little bit every now and again. We're not eating fresh woolly mammoth off the fire. So we don't have any raw materials, and we're just telling the body, grow, grow, grow. It throws everything off. It throws off the androgens, the male hormones. It throws off the estrogens, the female hormones. It throws off all the building hormones, all the steroids, all the stress hormones. It throws everything off. It disrupts the entire system. Insulin does. The entire system. The body is just so exquisitely designed with everything just nano-architected. The specifications, the tolerances are like on the quantum scale. You know what I'm saying? They're just so pristine. And now you're just flooding the body with this hormone that historically was rare, relatively rare, because we didn't have a lot of food. And now you're flooding the body with it without the cofactors and the assisting elements. It's a recipe for disaster from a biochemical standpoint that is manifesting in front of our eyes clinically. And that's the triangle of disease.
Okay.
I added the adrenal thyroid and I probably shouldn't have, the more we talked about it, but it sounded so cool, the triangle part. And the thyroid and hypothyroidism is really the jumping off point. So I wanted to include hypothyroidism, but the thyroid's related to the adrenal glands, which is related to the blood sugar system, which is related to food. That's how I came up with the triangle.
Pharmacist Ben, I just want to read off some of what you and I in the past, or you and Becca in the past, have talked about as different problems that occur as a result, in my opinion, as a result of metabolic.
Okay, can I just say something before you go into that?
Dysglycemia, but go ahead.
We gave the bad news. The good news is it's easy to change. It's easy. That's the good news. Do you follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's bad news is the mechanism and what it leads to, everything. But the good news is we can do this. By changing the way we supplement, by changing the way we eat, by changing the way we live, anything you can do to keep the blood sugar low, the insulin stable and low, everything's stable and low, really, the longer you live. And every once in a while, cessation, stopping the input of that energy, is one of the greatest gifts you can give to the body. The body cleans itself out when there's nothing in it, like a self-cleaning dishwasher. If you want to clean your dishwasher, right, what do? You run it without food, without dishes. If you want to clean the body out, autophagy, that's what they call it, autophagy, cleaning it out. If you want to clean out the body autophagously, fast. That's why fasting is so important.
Okay. I just want to read off why that we needed to talk about metabolic syndrome today as the fundamental problem in America. These are my opinions.
It
right?
is.
The fundamental problem in America, in my opinion, is metabolic syndrome. And
is somebody writing this? Is somebody writing this, or you're reading it?
I'm reading notes from you and I and you and Becca's conversations.
I see. All of them, all together, compiled?
A composite of about 50 conversations.
Okay. All about metabolic syndrome.
At least 30. Well, yes, you touch on the topic every show.
I have to. You can't not.
So yes.
You cannot. It is everything. You know what I call metabolic syndrome? Everything syndrome.
Well, I want the folks to understand.
Don't call it metabolic syndrome. Call it everything syndrome.
Everything.
The only system, everything syndrome. The only thing that can go wrong in the body that doesn't involve metabolic syndrome is what? What's the only thing in the body that can go wrong, and even a case could be made for at least part of this being metabolic syndrome, is digestive issues.
Mm-hmm.
Digestive issues are food issues until the food becomes metabolized. Once the food becomes metabolized, then it's part of metabolic syndrome.
I was thinking hypoxia might be one.
But like if you eat the wrong food, you have an ulcer or something, or you have H. pylori. But you know what? Even then, on some level, it's going to be metabolic. It's very difficult to come up with something that is not an aspect of metabolic syndrome. That's why I call it everything syndrome.
Okay, so, and yes, in the notes, you do mention everything syndrome. You talk about dysglycemia and the toxin of sugar. You talk about hyperinsulinemia, the hidden culprit, insulin resistance, growth hormones, and
you've been a busy boy there, AJ. You've been busy.
Metabolic syndrome drives the development of skin tags, cysts, fibroids, boils.
Dude, that's a volume. Dude, hey, AJ, we got to talk, buddy.
Downstream.
We're going to talk here. We're going to talk.
Belly fat, blood sugar issues, high blood pressure. It's also a root cause of high cholesterol, diabetic dyslipidemia, fatty liver disease,
everything. What do you want to do? Put us to sleep? Reading? You know what you remind me of? When I was in pharmacy school, we had to watch a movie about a new drug. Did I tell you the story? A new drug that came out.
You did tell us about that drug.
And it's revolutionize cardiovascular health. No more hospitalizations. No more blah 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 blah. And they make you watch it. They make you go tour the drug companies too. They drive that into you, that propaganda. And so the movie was about a new drug called Inderal that we call propranolol now. It's a beta blocker. It was the first beta blocker. Beta blockers they block the beta nerve to the heart. They slow it down. And so it was a very exotic mechanism for slowing the heart down. Doctors love to slow the heart down, cardiologists. That's their main strategy, is to slow the heart down. And so, and I can see the logic, but it just seems crazy to me that you poison the heart. They poison it. Anyway, the movie was an hour long. The lady read how great the drug was for 15 minutes. And the lady who read the side effects was talking for 45 minutes. Just like that. Just like what you read.
Well, and the reason I wanted to highlight is because I wanted people to understand that I wanted to illustrate verbally that it is the root of everything.
Everything.
Name these diseases. So when people say, how do I get rid of this? Because I get the phone calls, Pharmacist Ben.
How do I get rid of this? Here's the problem. And this is a very interesting dilemma that we have. And it's based on systems theory. So what do I mean by that? The body, for many years, for hundreds of years, since probably the 1500s, 1400s, maybe even before, was looked at as being composed of individual units. And to this day, when we work on the body, we work on in the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the intestine. You're a sick female illness, you go to an OBGYN. A skin problem, you go to dermatologist. Brain problem, you go to neurologist. Prostate problem, you go to urologist. A muscle problem, a myologist, a cardiologist. That specialties. We look at every part of the body as special. It's not. It's a system. And yes, there are individual parts, but they're interacting in a system. Why is this important? Because in a system, one of the tenets or pillars of systems theory, which is where all this is derived from, how systems work, is that all systems have control points, bottlenecks, areas that are like master areas where you can control the rest of the system. You follow what I'm saying? This is the nature of systems to have these bottlenecks. The system called the human body has two major bottlenecks, two major control points. And they both involve, guess what? Energy. Because that's the raison d'etre of the body. It's about energy. The body is just about energy, purely and simply. Like everything is, not just the body, by the way. But the body has somehow figured out how to... every time I think about it, just blows my head open how the body figured out how to work with energy in this way, but whatever. So the two control points, not surprisingly, in an energy system are going to be energy control points. One where energy comes in to the body at large, and two where energy comes into the cell, or specifically the mitochondria in the cell. Those are the two places. Boom, boom. They're the first 2 points on the triangle of disease. Why? That's why you have the triangle of disease, because these represent control points. So I brought this up to say that that's good and that's bad. It's good because it's super powerful. Leverage is powerful. When you have one point that can do all that, that's power. That's the greatest invention. They sometimes say, what's the greatest invention ever, in the world, in the history of man? People say the wheel. No, the lever. The lever, to me, is the greatest invention. It allows you to get a little bit of work and get a lot of benefit. And so you're looking for leverage points, places where you can get a lot of bang for your buck, and that's the two places where energy comes into the body and into the cell, specifically into the mitochondria of the cell. And that's why the triangle of disease and the 2 points are everything. Everything. They're the two control points that allow you to have access to everything in the body. And it's good because they're simple. Stop the way you eat. Change the way you eat. I mean, it's not like you've been cursed, right? You just change the way you eat. And the problem is, though, that's the good news. It's simple. You know what the bad news is? That it's so simple. That it's so simple. Nobody believes it. It's so simple. Nobody believes because nobody understands the nature of systems. If you look at the body as little pieces, the heart and the spleen and the lungs, to have a control point doesn't make any sense. It sounds silly. It sounds like a panacea, airy fairy. That's what they want you to think, because they're not talking in systems. Because if you understand systems, you understand it makes perfect sense to have control points that you're looking for to control everything. And by the way, this is all engineering. This is not biology. This is not clinical. This is not doctoring. This is not clinical chemistry. This is biology. I'm sorry. This is electronics, physics. Bioelectricity is really the best thing you can call it. Yes.
Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
2 things I'm going to say before we go on to try and tackle Andy's question.
Yes.
I was watching my favorite thing, YouTube and Facebook.
I like YouTube. I've been liking YouTube.
There was this guy talking about, in an electron microscope, he's looking at the body and he's finding transistors and all of these electrical
biological transistors you're talking about?
Biological
yes,
shaped,
that's right.
Shaped
I know.
like,
I know. It's true.
Shaped like
transistors.
What we use to make a radio.
100%. 1,000%, except it's quantum.
Quantum.
It's quantum.
Quantum-sized transistors.
Exactly.
Quantum-sized capacitors.
100%. We're energy devices.
Okay, but how do we get capacitors in the bloodstream? Like
the blood's a capacitor. The membranes there's capacitors everywhere. It's all capacitance. The body, it's not capacitors, it's capacitance. You know what I'm saying? So tell people what a capacitor is. A capacitor has an ability to control electrical energy to derive control the movement of electrical energy to derive energy. It holds it and traps it and releases it at certain points. The entire body is one big capacitor made up of an infinite amount of subcapacitors that are each smaller than the rest. Exactly. But here's the thing. That is, to me, by the way, and I do this in skincare. I use this. This is how I make my skincare products, using these understandings. But it's also why nutrition is so powerful. How does a vitamin work? How does a amino acid work? How does an EFA work, an essential fatty acid work? And how do plant-derived minerals work? They're frequency modulators. They change the frequencies so that the frequency, just without getting into too much technicality, a frequency is just a type of energy. Like right, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, those are all frequencies, right? KOA or KBCO or, all the different radio stations are different frequencies. So there's all these frequency things happening. Radio wave, except they're not radio, it's different frequencies. It's much higher frequency than radio frequency. And frequency, by the way, is so cool. You know what frequency is? Well, how would you say frequency is, to just in a non-physics way?
Wave?
No, that's physics already.
Wave?
No, that's already physics, but in a way that you can actually see or think about. Frequency, if I take my light, right, on, off, and I do it every second, on, off, on, off.
Ones and zeros.
What's the frequency? Not quite. What's the frequency if I turn my light on once a second, on, off once a second? What would its frequency be? 1. One time, one cycle, right? And that's a wave, one cycle. If I turn my light on and off 2 times, what's the frequency? 2. If I turn my light on 3 times per second, what's the frequency?
Okay, let's say 3. Okay.
The body runs at trillions, hundreds of trillions of times per second. Electrons vibrate at the rate of not 1, 2, hundreds of trillions, quadrillions maybe times per second, depending on where on the spectrum it is. But in biology, hundreds of trillions. How can something go on and off hundreds of trillions of times? How is that conceivable? Can you conceive of something going on and off once, twice, 3 times, 500 trillion? That's the kind of game we're playing here. That's the scale that we're talking about here.
Okay.
Right? And the point is that system is easily disturbed. It's when things are moving at 100 trillion times per second, you could throw them off. Imagine a fan. You stick something in a fan's spinning around how many times per second, whatever it is, 1,000, 10,000, I don't even know, 40,000 times a second, however it is. What do you think a fan spins at? I don't know, 5,000 times per second? Something crazy. Probably not that much. 100 times a second.
No way. No way.
No way. I don't even know. Whatever it is. That's whatever it is. 50 times
Maybe
a second.
50.
Okay. So I can.
Possibly.
Okay, good. So you put your finger in there, or put a piece of paper in there. You throw it off, right? That's how easily disturbed something is when it's vibrating that fast. That's why we die so easily. If I shoot a bullet in somebody, what am I really doing? I'm putting a tiny little hole in them, but you die because all that energy is like tightly compressed. It's like boom, right? And so in any case, the bottom line is that the way we can control all of these systems is by the kind of energies we put in or don't put into the body and the support molecules that modulate the frequency. So you have macronutrients, protein, fats, carbohydrates. They supply the energy, the massive energy, the big bonds of energy. The microenergy is the nutrients, or the micronutrients are working to modify. They're like the spices that modify the pure energy. And that's why they both have to happen together. You can't have one without the other. Having micronutrients without macronutrients, there's nothing for the micronutrients to do. Having macronutrients without micronutrients, that's a disaster. I guess the first one's a disaster too because you'll die of starvation. But the second one is a long-term disaster.
Okay, Pharmacist Ben, my second thing that I saw online was that we as humans are being cheated because we don't wear leather shoes anymore, and we're not getting the energy from the ground. We're not
Barefoot.
grounding.
It's 100%. Do you know about that? How energy comes through the center of the earth through your feet?
Well, I want you to talk about it.
It's called grounding. It's totally legit. It's why people like to walk barefoot, especially in the dirt or in the sand.
In grass?
On the grass, absolutely. You know what that's all about? This is back to what we're talking about here. Do you know what the other name for these electrons that are coming through the earth is?
What?
Negative ions.
Negative ions. Yes.
They're negative ions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Negative ions are I can't say it, but they're the bomb. Negative ions are electrons. We live on electrons. I want to say that again. We live on electrons.
Hugging a tree.
Food is electrons. The only reason food is important is because of electrons. And by the way, where do the electrons come from? We'll talk about that in a second. So, yes, hugging a tree. Hugging a tree.
Hugging your
dog? Not so much a dog. It has to be some kind of nature, something that's not expending its electronic energy. That's producing more electronic energy than it's using. A dog's using more electronic energy. A tree's not really using as much electronic energy, electrons, negative ions, whatever you want to call them, as a dog is, or as an ambulatory creature. So they tend to be in nature, trees, plants, and all of it's coming from
the sun.
Photons. Mm-hmm. The sun is your daddy. Do you remember?
How's the sun your daddy?
I'll tell you.
No, just
isn't that funny? The sun is your daddy. Yeah, the sun is your daddy. Right? And so, do you remember Pedro Martinez, right?
Oh,
he goes like one day he made the mistake of going, the Yankees, they're my daddy. You know, he says, because they were kicking, every time he went there, they would beat him, right? And he was a great pitcher. He was an awesome pitcher. But the Yankees had his number. And he goes, the Yankees, they're my daddy. And then every time he came to pitch in Yankee Stadium, they would all go, who's your daddy? Is that great? I cracked up. Who's your daddy?
Absolutely.
Anyway, so the sun is your daddy. The sun is the father of them all, man. It all comes from the sun.
Okay, wait. I'm going to attack Andy. Yes, of course, I do understand that the pyramid complexes are nothing but big computers.
Solar. I know, solar something or another, temples, monoliths, all that. Oh yeah, if we love the sun and the stars, imagine when native people, they didn't have TV, that's all they're thinking about. That's all I was seeing. What the heck is going on out there, right?
Okay. Our friend Miss Philly is asking, with metabolic syndrome, what would be the reason for someone having problems gaining weight? Is that a metabolic syndrome issue?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That happens. That's the other side. There's two ways it can show up. It can show up as being really, really thin, or it can show up as being really, really fat, or in between, of course. But that's another form of metabolic syndrome, the thin version of metabolic syndrome. Absolutely. And there's a lot of dysglycemic issues, messed up blood sugar issues that affect the female reproductive system for this reason. It has to do with male hormones. Insulin acts like male hormones. Right? Remember I said how insulin regulates everything. One of its most powerful interactions is with the steroid hormone system, especially male and female hormones. So it will there is a form of metabolic syndrome that affects fertility and menstrual cycles. That's the female hormone system. And that's both hormone systems, actually. And then there's a form of insulin resistance hormonal issues where you'll get muscular and lean, and that happens too. And how one occurs and the other doesn't occur, I'm not sure I can answer that. There's probably, because the system is so complex, there's probably reasons for one or the other. I don't know exactly.
But the fix is the same, whether you're
the same. Absolutely.
Big metabolic syndrome or small metabolic syndrome.
Fix is the same. Yes.
Fasting might be a start.
Fasting is an amazing start.
Even if you're too skinny.
Even if you're too skinny. When you fast, you're not going to lose, unless you don't have any body fat, you're not going to lose muscle before you lose fat. And what you're trying to, it's not, people have a confusion about gaining weight and losing weight because we think weight is weight. It's not. It's lean muscle mass and body fat, right? That's the two types of weight. That's the two major types of weight. You don't want to mess with your lean body mass. You want to, your body fat, you need some body fat for sure. You don't want to be too lean, but when you fast, that's not going to really affect your lean body mass.
Okay, because Andy, we're making you wait because you're a smart guy. We love Andy, we love Bruce, we love Mr. T7. All of our folks who are on with us during the day and night. But we're gonna go our friend NC Golden. I was told I have metabolic syndrome and it's hard to lose weight. Also insulin resistant. How can it be reversed?
Healthy blood and sugar pack, reduce caloric intake. I think maybe I'm not dismissing the question, but we talk about it all the time, but it's good to go over it. Less calories is probably the first most important thing, especially calories from fast burning sugars. More protein, more fiber, more micronutrients, correct other inflammatory conditions, leaky gut, drink more water, exercise. Additional nutrients from the healthy blood sugar pack will include ultimate selenium, ultimate niacin, MSM, probably a whole slew, magnesium, Osteomag, zinc, ZRFX. The transition metals are really important for blood sugar. Zinc and chromium and vanadium and selenium. Those are really important for the blood sugar system. Just general blood sugar, all the things we talk about with blood sugar. Now,
Becca,
the weight's not going to, depending on where they're at, how thrown off their metabolic syndrome is, you're going to get more or less benefits depending on where it is. You're probably going to want to, if it's really severe, you're going to probably want to throw in a lot of exercise, or, not extreme, but just regular exercise. Maybe breathing techniques, activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Sugar is one of the big problems with sugar, and insulin for that matter, is they're inflammatory. Actually, I should check about insulin. I'm thinking high insulin would be inflammatory, but certainly sugar is inflammatory. And so once the inflammatory system has been activated, what do you think happens? The inflammatory system is like having an airbag go off inside your biochemistry. Systemic inflammation. Can you imagine what an airbag going off, like a net? There'd be a smaller airbag, of course, but a tiny airbag going off in there would be. That's what inflammation is. Function. Start eating breakfast at a.m. Even though I wouldn't go by what your functional medicine told you ever. Go by how you feel. Go by how you feel. What you feel like doing. He says, I only eat one meal a day and I don't lose. That's because you have an insulin problem. Insulin will keep you from losing weight. High insulin will keep you from losing weight. And there's a lot of people like that. It could also be at this point, I don't know where you are in your health, or I don't know if you're a male or female, but it could be Hashimoto. It could be thyroid disease. Remember, this is a triangle. And once you're at the third point, everything slows down. The thing about the triangle is it spins. So the third point goes back around the first point, second point, and third point. It keeps spinning downward. So if you're at the point where you're hypothyroid, you're going to have to you have to do some extra measures there to take care of the thyroid.
Could a thyroid issue keep you from gaining weight?
Could a thyroid issue keep you from, yeah, if it's Graves' disease, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's two ways thyroids can go. Hypothyroid's a bummer. Hyperthyroid's an emergency. Mm. Hypothyroid is just you feel tired and sluggish, nothing works, Hyperthyroid, that is a miserable condition. Can you imagine like you're revved up all the time, sweating all the time, your eyes pop out of your head? It's a curse. But it's easy. It's so bad they'll actually take they'll take it out, or they'll radiate it, or they'll give you pills that kill it.
I remember when I was in daycare, so I must have been like 7, 8 years old. There was this younger kid whose eyes were popped out for like poor kid for like
I know,
for like 2 weeks, and then they did something to him, and his eyes were normal again.
They probably did something with his thyroid, I would guess. I don't know, but that's one of the things. Can you imagine profuse sweating, anxiety, jitteriness? Oh my God, it's a curse. It is a real curse.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know whose question this is, Becca, but while we answer this question, Becca, can you get me a phone number for where people can call to buy the book Metabolic Syndrome? 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with gestational borderline diabetes. A1C
Yes.
back to normal after birth of son. Gained 120 pounds. A1C still normal, but insulin resistance was tested as being high at 14.
Well, the problem is not the A1C. A1C is a sugar problem, not an insulin problem. So whether or not it's normal, I don't know what that means, because usually it seems like you might have a sugar problem. But really, all these things are about insulin, not sugar. Once you have a baby, that really throws off your hormones. Again, that's because, or throws off your insulin. That's because all your hormones are interacting with each other. They're all connected to each other. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what the butterfly effect is?
One butterfly wing in America makes it rain in Japan.
Yeah,
it makes a tornado in Japan. I mean,
yeah, something along those lines. Exactly. Exactly. Did you ever see the movie The Butterfly Effect? Like they make one little change in the person's life, and they go from being this beautiful, sorority girl to some meth head or crackhead or something. And it's just one little change, one tiny little tweak. They just met the person.
Not that we're judging meth heads.
What's that?
Not that we're judging.
I'm not judging meth heads. Did you ever see Faces of Meth?
No.
You should Google Faces of Meth.
I don't. I just walk out to the corner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha. No, Faces of Meth shows you before and afters.
Oh, before and after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You've seen the after. You're in the after.
Yeah, I've seen the after. I can imagine.
Did you see the movie Jacob's Ladder?
No.
You should see it. You got to see it. The old one, not the new one.
You're a reader. You see a lot of movies.
No, I don't. Yeah, I do. I like movies. I do. I like movies a lot. But no, I don't. I just have some favorites. I have like a list of movies I like movies that like meaningful movies. So anyway, Jacob's Ladder it's about I don't want to tell you what it's about, but a lot of it is about New York being a hell realm, like the city. And I grew up there, and I was just there, and I can see why they did that. There you go. Metabolic syndrome are not genetic diseases. Absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, probably pretty accurate. Okay. Now, for those who don't have grass or clean dirt to walk on, would leather sole shoes be sufficient or copper infused?
No, I mean copper maybe. Nothing like those earth electrons. Earth electrons. Do you know what the biggest, most concentrated source of electrons on Earth is?
Wait, don't say it.
I'll give you a clue.
The ocean?
Yeah. Good. AJ, damn. That's one of the reasons. That's one of, why would that be though? Why would there be so many electrons in the ocean, do you think?
There's a couple of reasons, I think.
Yeah.
No, number one, the sun is beating down
on AJ. That's why you're the smartest man in longevity, AJ. Smartest man in longevity.
There are people who are going to debate
yes,
that.
Sir. Yes, sir. The sun is constantly beating. And what is on the sun, or what is on the ocean that traps the sun? That the most powerful energy sources on the planet, what are they? That trap the sun?
Plankton? No, or plant?
Algae. Mm-hmm. That's what makes algae the most powerful food on the planet. The biggest animals on the planet, what do they eat? Yeah. Algae.
Yeah.
How does a whale get that big eating freaking plankton and algae? You know, how does that work exactly? How does the plankton turn into this beast? Can you imagine how big a whale is? You can't imagine how big a whale is.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Elephants, they're big, right? There's probably like 20 elephants that could sit on a whale's back or something. You know, I don't know how big. It's crazy. So anyway,
Adrian Gold would want to debate you on this.
Continue. Who?
Adrian Gold.
Is she listening?
She's not listening.
What would she debate me about?
Well, she thinks she loves pollen. She loves how
pollen's pretty. No, pollen. You can make a case for pollen being very nutritionally dense, absolutely, but they're not electrically active like freaking algae.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's nutrition in a lot of things. Eggs, you know, there's a lot of things that are highly dense with nutrients, and pollen are just that. But they're not electrically active like algae. I was seeing on the freaking ocean. Minerals on the bottom, photons on the top, algae in the middle. What do you think's happening to those algae? Right. Holy moly, that's a freaking battery. Right. It's just supercharged.
Stored. All of that energy stored. Yeah.
And that's why algae has protein, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, amino acids, everything. Algae is the ultimate food. And by the way, that's why the FucoidZ is such an amazing product. Mm-hmm. The fucoidin is one of the power ingredients in algae. Mm-hmm. I love how the most humblest creatures, the bacteria and the algae, are the most impactful and arguably the most important on the planet. Not us. The algae and the bacteria.
All right.
Yes.
Victor,
by the way, I love Adrian Gold. I'm not no knock on Adrian Gold.
I know you love Adrian Gold.
I've known her for many years.
Your love for her and her late husband as well.
Absolutely.
You've mentioned many times. Victor, I appreciate your many comments here. You remember Victor?
Victor Delage. How does he say his name?
Yeah.
Did I say it right? Delage?
No, but that's okay.
Okay. Victor. What's he saying?
On first names on television.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So now Andy's question: if someone has had repeated, you go for this one.
If somebody has repeated what? Where are you looking at? Is it in the comments?
If someone, it's on the screen. If someone has
spell it for me, I don't see it on my screen.
Repeated cystopathy. Woo.
Spell it.
CYSTOSCOPIES. Cystoscopy. Whoo. Cystoscopies.
Okay. So what are they scoping for?
Over a few years, can that cause urinary symptoms like stinging, interrupted flow, and inability to fully empty, meaning the screening has...
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, why would they have the cystoscopies? Cystoscope. A cystoscope is the device. A cystoscopy is the procedure.
Yeah.
So yes, for a couple things, absolutely, they could be related. First of all, you have to ask, why are they like getting cystoscopies, right?
Is that as painful as I'm imagining, that they're sticking a
I hope they numb it. I hope they numb it. I don't know much about the procedure. I hope they numb it. A cystoscopy. First of all, there's something wrong in the urethra, or the bladder or something. A cyst is like in this case, I think it refers to the bladder. And so a cystoscopy, they're looking in the bladder, but you got to go through the urethra, if you can imagine. And so I think they numb it probably, but it might be sore after they take it out. I guess I don't know much about it, but yes, it can. Anything you could do to help heal epithelia and connective tissue. Epithelia is the surface of the skin, the connective tissues underneath. Healthy bone and joint pack, vitamin C, beyond Tangy Tangerine, lots of it. You got to be a little careful. It might hurt you to pee. So if you're drinking a lot of water, I guess that might be a problem. But all the stuff that heals. Hang on a second here. Hey, I got to call you back, okay? Sorry about that. And I do have to go. It's already late. Right. So I have some, believe it or not, other calls to make here. Yes, cystoscopies can cause inflammation in the urethra, absolutely. And I would go with the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. I would go with all the Beyond Tangy Tangerine electrolytes, all the B complex, but that's Beyond Tangy Tangerine. General healing, zinc. Zinc's really important for healing. Vitamin E is important for healing. Zinc is probably the most important healing next to vitamin C. Vitamin C is probably the most important, but zinc is probably the second most. You know about zinc lozenges?
Mm-hmm.
So zinc lozenges, if you suck on zinc, they'll heal your throat, right?
Mm-hmm.
The zinc melts, it drips, and it hits your throat, and it heals your sore throat. A cystoscopy is a sore throat, except in another part of the body. Mm-hmm. Same idea, right?
Okay. So would you
imagine having a sore throat in your
would you put a dropper of
no, I wouldn't put anything in there. No, I wouldn't put a dropper in there.
You wouldn't do that. Okay.
No, would you do that? Would a dropper where? What are you talking about?
Where you're thinking, yes. Where you're thinking.
No, I would not do that.
You wouldn't do that. Okay. Pharmacist Ben, before I let you go, the most important question in the past 53 years.
Yes.
What did you think of the Knicks victory?
I have to say, I heard about it, but I don't follow basketball really. But I know I don't really follow basketball. But I do know, for me in New York, that it was an amazing thing. I do know when I read it. First of all, I didn't even know about it until I read they were in the final game. I was like, "What is that?" I couldn't believe. Is that the first time? I was like, "Is that I didn't know because I hadn't followed basketball in years." And then I read it. It was said Knicks are in the finals, and I was like, "What?" And then they won it. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't even know who's on the Knicks. I don't really follow basketball. But I remember Willis Reed. I remember Earl the Pearl. I remember Dave DeBusschere. I remember there was another power forward, Bill somebody. He was a senator.
Yep. Bradley.
Bill Bradley, Dollar Bill Bradley. Mm-hmm. And who am I missing here? Oh, of course, Walt Frazier.
Clyde Frazier.
I remember that.
Pharmacist Ben, I just want to tell you about the point guard. This guy named Jalen Brunson, the son of a guy who played with Jordan and was on the Knicks' last team that made
What was his name? His
name was Rick Brunson.
Huh, interesting. In the 80s?
90s, 2000.
Are you too young for the 80s? The 80s were like, that was amazing time. Did you watch?
My favorite ball player of all time is Moses Malone.
Oh, Moses Malone? Bird. Larry Bird.
Bird's the man.
Larry Bird.
And
everyone's got their favorites. Jordan was great. There's a lot of great ones. But, all right.
The older you get. But just this real quick, this kid Rick Brunson.
Yeah.
They went his three guys on the Knicks that he played with at not Providence at where Villanova. They went to Villanova and they won championships at Villanova. And now these three kids are playing for the Knicks.
Really?
And they won the championship with the Knicks. But
the NBA championship.
But this kid Rick Brunson.
Yeah. Amazing.
I remember him. He uses mental strength. He's not the fastest. He's not the tallest. But he works the hardest. Practices the hardest over the summer, and has the willpower.
Yeah.
Of a Ben Fuchs.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, I know. So is he a big guy? Is he big?
6'1".
6'1". That's great. I love stories like that. John Stockton, those guys, small guys. Yeah, the small guys that can. That's amazing because I don't know if other people have not. Anybody's. I'm not sure everybody's been to an NBA game. Those guys are freaks of nature. There is no other way to describe them. No other way to describe a 6'11", 300-pound, pure muscle being like they're from another dimension or something. And then we got this little 6'1" white guy, who's like shooting 3-pointers and passing.
But the guy they were playing against is 7'4". from France.
Yeah, and not just 7'4", he's probably ripped. Is he a black guy?
Half and half. He's half white, half
All right,
black.
some of these guys, because black guys have more androgens, they're like, holy moly, what dimension? Where are these guys from?
Of all colors.
What's that?
I've seen ripped people of all colors.
Yeah, but not in the NBA. The white guys are doughier in the NBA. The white guys are
definitely. We're going to end there.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Thanks for another episode of Pharmacist Ben's Bites. You're the man, Pharmacist Ben. I really enjoyed talking to you at all times. We'll see you Friday.
I'll see you Friday.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
A diagnosis of ALS, or severe muscle wasting, is often treated as an inescapable genetic sentence. The prevailing medical view is that your body has simply decided to fail, and there is no intervention capable of stopping the decline. When we view these conditions as a systemic metabolic breakdown, the focus shifts from a mysterious destiny to a mechanical reality. We stop looking for curses and start looking for failures in the body's self-repair systems. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs describes human health as a constant balancing act on a biological seesaw. On one side is anabolism, building tissue. On the other, catabolism, breaking it down. In extreme muscle wasting, that seesaw violently snaps. The body becomes trapped in runaway catabolism. It's a terrifying reality. Your body is actively consuming its muscle tissue, literally eating itself faster than it can patch the damage and rebuild. You cannot out-medicate this state of decay. To actually halt the decline, you have to answer the root question: what triggered the body to attack its own tissue in the first place? There is a core principle in holistic health. Where you see the problem is almost never where the problem begins. To understand dying muscles in the limbs, we have to trace the physiological forensics backward, straight to the digestive system. When you consume highly inflammatory foods, like processed fats and refined sugars, they damage the delicate lining of your intestines. Over time, these irritants punch microscopic holes in that barrier, a condition known as leaky gut. Instead of absorbing nutrients, your compromised gut allows a flood of bacterial debris and undigested food particles to leak directly into your bloodstream. This debris turns the blood thick and toxic, a state Pharmacist Ben calls dirty blood. To protect your vital organs from this contamination, your body shunts this debris toward the periphery, the connective tissues and limbs. Simultaneously, the blood thickens in an immune response to trap the toxins. This sluggish, hypercoagulable blood can no longer navigate the microscopic capillaries that feed your cells, leaving the muscles suffocating and functionally starving. Bathed in this acidic, oxygen-depleted environment, the muscle tissue reaches a breaking point. Individual cells begin to die, and as Ben describes it, they literally explode, spewing their internal enzymes and acids directly into the surrounding tissue. This cell explosion creates a vicious cycle. The debris from the ruptured cells floods the kidneys, straining your primary filters, and triggering massive inflammation that drives the body into even more aggressive muscle catabolism. You cannot rebuild a house in the middle of a hurricane. Before any repair can begin, you must execute an emergency triage response and completely cut off the stream of toxicity. The fastest way to do that is a 24 to 48-hour water fast. By stopping the intake of food entirely, you stop the influx of toxins and give your hyperactive immune system and overworked digestive tract a mandatory reset. When you resume eating, the guesswork has to end. You must keep a strict food diary to track how your body responds to every meal, allowing you to identify and permanently eliminate the specific triggers causing your inflammation. With the toxic influx stopped, you have to clean up the wreckage in the blood. This requires taking systemic enzymes, specifically ultimate enzymes, on a completely empty stomach. Because there is no food in the stomach to digest, these enzymes pass directly into the bloodstream. They act like a roto-rooter for the vascular system, seeking out and dissolving the inflammatory proteins and dead cellular debris clogging the blood flow. By sealing the gut, neutralizing the blood debris, and aggressively flushing the kidneys with water and plant-derived minerals, the emergency is contained. The body is finally prepared for the rebuilding phase. Now you transition to the offensive strategy. To restore the atrophied limbs, you have to move the biological seesaw out of breakdown and back into anabolism. Muscles are composed almost entirely of protein. Synthesizing new muscle fibers is chemically impossible if your body lacks the exact raw materials required to build them. You must saturate your system with branched-chain amino acids and whey protein. These are the building blocks that trigger muscle repair and growth without placing a heavy metabolic burden on your digestive system. Creatine is also a necessary addition for any condition involving muscle wasting. It provides the essential energy to protect fragile, recovering muscle tissue while simultaneously supporting neurological health. But muscle fibers do not exist in a vacuum. They require a physical, structural matrix, the body's internal scaffolding, to attach and anchor themselves to. The healthy bone and joint pack, glucogel caps, and collagen peptides provide the critical goo and fibers necessary to rebuild the entire physical framework that holds the muscles in place. A rebuilt structure and new muscle fibers provide the potential for movement, but the nerves provide the command. Without a healthy electrical signal, the muscles remain dormant. To restore the grid, you have to saturate the cells with all 90 essential nutrients, focusing specifically on those that facilitate electrical nerve conduction. This brings us to thiamine, or vitamin B1. Historical biochemical discoveries proved that severe nerve pain and the wooden legs of peripheral neuropathy were directly reversed by reintroducing this vitamin to the diet. Thiamine restores the electrical conduction required for nerves to function. It allows signals from the brain to travel without interruption and successfully fire the muscle fibers. This is the protocol's goal: clean blood, rebuilt structure, and restored electrical signals working together in perfect coordination. A diagnosis of severe muscle wasting is not a mandate for passive decline. By controlling the gut, clearing the blood, and feeding the growth pathways, patients have the agency to redirect their metabolism from active breakdown towards structural renewal.